Greetings and welcome to our July 8th, 2026 TED Talks Discussion Club. My name is Mark Knitkin. I'm the faculty advisor for the TED Talks Discussion Club, and I often host and facilitate these meetings and discussions. The topic, albeit a little bit late coming this month, is the oceans, which is based on I guess, one recent and one from a couple years ago uh, discussions that I thought were pretty interesting, outlining the importance of the oceans and some interesting things that are happening. And I'm looking forward to hearing what people think, and if you were aware of these issues and things going on, and how it might relate to your life, your world. I did see somebody here is in Florida, which is surrounded by, well, at least ocean on one side, and the Gulf of Mexico is kind of still connected to the ocean. But yeah, a lot of our population lives in coastal areas near the ocean. So, and if not, it still has an impact on what goes on in the globe, in the world in terms of weather, uh, fishing, lots of different things. So I hope you enjoy these talks. And without further ado, I will queue up the first one. Is my window. Ah, and yeah, I encourage you to share in the chat as we watch this if you have thoughts or questions, and we will get back to those after we watch this video. This is called "We're Keeping the Ocean Wild, and You Can Join Us" by Sylvia A. Earle. I do know this one is from just a month ago, but Sylvia had presented, I think, at least once or twice in the last decade or more on TED, and actually I saw had won a special TED award for their presentation at one point. So not this one, but a previous presentation, I believe, also on the oceans. So yeah, if you're watching the recording, make sure to pause and watch the first linked video and then resume for the discussion. Right. There we All right, welcome back. What did you all think? Do any of you live near the ocean, on the ocean? If not, can you think of ways that things in your own life either impact or are impacted by the ocean, and what the presenter shared? Anyone?
Oh, hi, I can say something. So I thought that was a really important message also because having moved from the West Coast, so I was originally in Las Vegas to Texas, there's a huge difference in the seafood for me. Like out here in Texas, when I eat the seafood, which comes from the Gulf, it makes me really sick. Like I throw up, like it makes me really ill. Versus when I go back home, Las Vegas or California, it does not. And for me, it just makes me look at how different the water is. Even when you go to Galveston, you can see even just the color of the water is completely different from the color of the water in California. So I thought it was like a really important message that he had about, making sure that we're being mindful of how we're taking care of the ocean and, just taking the necessary steps to protect that ecosystem because ultimately it protects us from diseases and a whole bunch of other things. So it just made me think about that. And also how the ocean has an ecosystem. In finance, since I'm an accounting major, it just made me consider that everything pretty much has an ecosystem like finance, right? Like if rates increase, interest rates increase, then borrowing goes down. If water becomes polluted, diseases become higher. So it made me really think about a lot of things there listening to him.
Thank you for sharing. Is it Phoenicia?
Yes,
Uh,
Phoenicia.
Phoenicia. Thank you for sharing. I see some sharing in the chat as well. Kelly, you live close to the beach. You volunteered to help clean up the beach after a few holidays since your nephew is a lifeguard. That's great. Suzanne, life in the ocean is impacted when humans damage the natural balance of marine ecosystems, definitely. Kelly, you've watched a documentary about the Great Barrier Reef and how much damage has been done. Yeah. Ron, when you consider the vast plastic waste in the oceans, we are all impacted in some way or another. Definitely, and there's the ocean plastic situation is it is a big challenge. It has been interesting and hopeful watching some of the efforts like ocean cleanup. Um, is I think the organization is called Ocean Cleanup, and I think there's a few others that are actively have created systems to basically collect that diffuse plastic waste because some of it is larger, and actually a lot of it is attributed to fishing. So there's a lot of plastic-based. Do you mean to be unmuted, Phoenicia?
Am I unmuted?
Yep,
Oh, I'm
it, you're okay.
sorry.
Um, yeah, and plastic nets, fishing lines, all that type of stuff. And then of course there's all of the waste and we would think about, how does waste get into the ocean? I mean, some people dump waste into the ocean either on a small scale or actually on a large scale. And then a lot of times though, plastic waste will blow from various areas where it's being collected, landfills or trash barges, various things, and they'll blow into the ocean, and then they generally get caught in different currents and stay in certain areas. But a lot of the plastic waste can actually be very tiny amounts because it does parts of it do break down from the sun, but they don't fully go away. They usually break into smaller and smaller components like microplastics or nanoplastics even. Um, so there's a lot of this kind of like soup of plastic debris and pieces in various parts of the ocean. But a large percentage, I can't, it's at least like 25% of ocean plastic is actually attributed to the fishing industry. Kelly, climate change and waste due to littering is killing our oceans. You completed your honors course, and in your honors seminar, your group chose to discuss sustainability and climate change and offer solutions for the climate change crisis. That's awesome. I probably was there if you presented already. Trista, you're in Texas. You understand since you're from Oregon. Rachel, I have a lot of thoughts, but like that she mentioned there's hope, but it's still concerning. I wonder if people are doing enough. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of really good actions and initiatives, but it does sound like on a global scale. A big issue too, especially with overfishing or just, protecting the oceans on the whole is because the oceans touch so many different countries and like it's really hard to kind of like enforce regulations or policies in international waters. We really do need an international effort and coalition to make international laws about the oceans and especially fishing in international waters. There needs to be a method of enforcement that is international and fair to all the countries that are connected to the oceans. Rachel, you have a lot of thoughts, but you like that she mentioned there's hope. Um, Berenice, Gulf of Mexico and South Texas, they're talking about dumping wastewater into the sea from this new project. I think it's still in the talking stages, but not 100% sure. Interesting. Chandler, you live near North Carolina beaches. You go around during North Carolina wildlife campaigns to help spread awareness of the dangers of littering and overfishing. Great. Oh, and Dr. Ronald Beach shared great video on ocean cleanup organization. Most comes from Three River Systems. Yeah, thanks for sharing that link. Does anybody else want to share over voice or video on this one before we move on to the next one? But yeah, it's I think there's a lot to be concerned about, and I think that I think that for a long time, especially during and after the Industrial Revolution, and for quite a few decades, there was, we were just single-mindedly focused for in a large part, on just making more money and more development, more yields. Another big factor in terms of ocean health is agriculture, because agriculture that uses fertilizers and pesticides, those run off and go into rivers, and many rivers eventually exit out to the sea, including like the Mississippi River, which is one of the largest river watersheds in the United States. Um, so all of this agriculture and other things on the land and pollution from different industries that go into all these different rivers, a lot of times eventually they go out to the oceans. And so, we need to be concerned about what is happening on land as well and how that is impacting the oceans. But I would say, around the era of the first Earth Day and the various landmark, at least in the United States, but there was kind of a greater global awareness because things really got pretty bad at a time that I think that, countries have been having an increasing level of concern and also action to reduce some of the worst environmental impacts, but there's still a lot that we need to do. Any other thoughts about the oceans? How our actions, choices might impact the oceans and how the health of the oceans might impact us? All right. Well, I will share the next video. This TED Talk is from about 2 years ago. And this is Climate Change Slowing Down the Ocean by Susan Lozier. And I think this is an interesting one too, that also talks about climate change and the oceans. So, and this one's a little bit shorter, so we'll have more time to discuss. Maybe if we have even more time, I'm not sure how long the video that uh, Dr. Beach shared, but might be able to check out some of that as well if there isn't a lot of conversation. All right, I'm going to pause the recording. Make sure to watch the second video if you're watching the recording. It's another concerning one. And I remembered an article that I just saw. I think this just happened last month. Um, Here, I'll find it. I'll even share it. This is from um, PBS, Public Broadcasting from the United States. Trump administration dismantles ambitious ocean monitoring program. More than 900 deep sea ocean sensors will be pulled out of the Pacific and Atlantic near Washington, Oregon, Alaska, North Carolina, and Greenland. Um, I'll share the story if you want to read further into it. It's covered by other news outlets as well. And this is I'm quite certain that this might be related to at least part of the ocean monitoring that was mentioned in the presentation. Kelly, yeah, most of the oxygen we breathe gets produced by phytoplankton. Yeah, which are tiny little uh, organisms in the ocean that photosynthesize. Any thoughts on the who knew about the ocean the ocean overturning currents before, and for who was this a new revelation, or maybe a reminder of something that you had learned and maybe forgotten? Rachel, completely new for you. Suzanne also new. Yeah. Yeah, it's something that we don't think about, and it's something that is, it's not something that you can really see or understand easily because it's, you look at the ocean even from satellite views, you can't really see ocean water of different densities and different temperatures moving in currents deep in the ocean and then on the surface. So yeah, it's something that is pretty hidden from us for the most part, unless, we look at it and study it carefully. I think has anyone seen the movie The Day After Tomorrow? I think it's from a while ago, 2004. It mentions though that it's kind of the plot point is that the ocean conveyor, this overturning currents stops, and it leads to basically like another ice age in um, the regions, not that, all the way into like a good portion of North America and the United States, basically get plummeted into another ice age. Although, of course, in Hollywood fashion, it happens very quickly and dramatically. And I've also uh, read analysis that like the way that it happens in the movie would not really scientifically happen. But if the conveyor, uh, these currents slow down or stop, they're not likely to stop, but it could lead to, as the presenter said, much hotter temperatures close to the equator and much colder temperatures closer to the poles, which could include obviously parts of Canada and, the northern United States, Alaska certainly, um, and could also, affect our southern regions that are closer to the equator that maybe are already dealing with, intense heat and things like that. So it could have a long-term impact on, people's livelihoods and the ability of certain geographical regions to support human thriving. Any other thoughts about this or either video or the oceans? I'm gonna check out, see how long Ron's video is. It's about 12 minutes. All right, I found I like the look of the video that Ron shared, but it is about 12 minutes long. I found one directly from the Ocean Cleanup Organization that's like a recap of their work over the last year that's only a few minutes long. So I'm gonna share that. It's a lot of labubu's. Yes. Ron, the best is yet to come. Yeah, I hope so. And I know one thing, I mean, the ocean cleanup, I believe they get donations and grant funding. I think they also take some of the recovered plastic and upcycle it into different, more durable products. Like I know they had some sunglasses that they were selling, and then they were using the proceeds for, so you basically could get different things that were made from captured and repurposed ocean plastic. And then they were using that money to fund the cleanup efforts as well. So it's I believe it's a not-for-profit with a, a multi-tiered, uh, obviously strategies for cleaning up the plastic and also strategies for funding the cleanup efforts. But yeah, and I think it's a great point too that, all of that plastic waste, causes ecosystem damage. It's it's basically getting in the way of other organisms, different types of aquatic, uh, organisms eat it, and it can kill them, disrupt their ability to thrive. Birds, other, even probably land-based animals, turtles, um, but then also the plastic in those large amounts, like, shades areas and basically cuts off natural areas that where the plants and the animals can't survive. So and then that can in turn impact people whose livelihoods depend on the productivity of those ecosystems and areas. So it's a pretty, more than just an eyesore. It has a lot of impacts on other organisms and humans. Not to mention there's a growing concern about the amount of plastics that basically are in, human bodies and tissues, and we don't fully understand the long-term impacts of that either. So, yeah. Well, any further thoughts, questions? Janet, it would be nice to see organizations cut back on producing all the one-time use plastics and go back to reusable containers like glass. That would help cut back on the discarded trash. Yes, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Especially, I think we need to figure out what are the things that are the causing the most issues and the things that are the most easily replaceable. I think we are seeing, and some states and areas, some states and cities have banned single-use, different types of single-use plastic items. I think the two most popular targets are plastic bags and also plastic straws. And I will say that if for long duration, like the paper straws, sometimes leave a little bit to be desired. But there are straws and there are things that are like disposable plastic items and perform almost with equal utility that are made from more biodegradable materials, commonly like you might see PLA, or which stands for polylactic acid, which is basically a plastic that's made out of materials that it can break down and biodegrade more easily than other traditional plastics. Um, so yeah, I think there are alternatives. There are different ways of doing this. I know, like Janet, and that's the thing too, is that glass, aluminum, steel, and paper are much more easily recyclable, and maybe with the exception of paper products, which the more times you recycle them, the fibers can become shorter, and therefore the overall quality can be degraded. But the good thing about paper products is that they can always then be composted at the end of their life cycle as well. But steel, glass, and aluminum can be recycled almost infinitely, very efficiently, more efficiently than harvesting um, new raw materials. So I do think that we should definitely look at switching from plastics to more easily recyclable materials. And your honors class chose bamboo as a replacement for plastic. It's cost efficient and it grows in abundance. Yeah, bamboo is even it's more it grows more quickly. It produces more biomass even than pretty much all tree species as well. So it can be a good alternative to tree-based paper products. Um, yeah. And yeah, there's so much that can be done with bamboo. It can also be used to replace wood, like lumber products as well. Suzanne, it all starts with each individual in each household. Definitely. Yeah, we need to, I mean, we need policies and we need things at a big scale, at a community scale, city, state, and country scale, policies and regulations and changes in manufacturing. But I guess we need the demand from consumers. We need people to band together and call for action in those ways, and also to be willing to, make these changes in their own life. I think it's a multi-part, multi-level problem that needs to be addressed in many different ways. Bring back dishwashing and save the planet. Yeah, Kelly, it really comes down to those corporations using packaging that isn't plastic, definitely. All right, well, thank you everybody for coming, and thanks for those who shared in chat, who shared uh, over voice. I hope you enjoyed these videos. Don't think I shared the link to the last one that we watched.
Thank you.
And if you are here from honors, make sure that you fill out your reflection on your own Excel tracking sheet, and also at the link in the honors learning community to that basically gives a backup copy of your responses. I'll share that link in 1 second. But yeah, make sure to track right after. I've had a couple students email me and ask for specific recordings, which sometimes we have, sometimes we don't always have recordings available for all events. So it's important to do your reflection and track that right away, right after the event, so you don't forget. All right. Well, I think we're gonna have a leadership meeting for the TED Talks Discussion Club Student Advisory Board right now. So if you are not on the advisory board, please feel free to exit. Here, wait, I will get the link for tracking, but also make sure to track on your own sheet.